I don't usually do videos. I prefer the voice media. I prefer to do what I do without visual distraction. I think that visual distractions, especially on the internet, are part of probably a bigger problem in communicating. There are enough people out there willing to put their faces onto YouTube, and I never really felt the need to do that myself. I occasionally do documentaries. I occasionally will do an on-air video. But for the purpose of this particular blog today, I wanted to show my face, let you look into my eyes, because we are talking about some serious issues that are going on in the space called the Internet. The Internet is an invention of, quote, them, but at the same time it was given that this period of time would also be a period of connecting. There were actually predictions out there by people like Teilhard de Chardin and Immanuel Velikovsky, among others, who talked about a collective consciousness that would occur as the age winds down, as we move from this present period of time, some call it the Piscean Age, into this new period, which we would call the Sixth Age or the Age of Aquarius. Doesn't really matter what your terminology is. I think those who are aware know that the energetics are changing. At the same time, the information that is pumped out onto the internet as a constant stream of bits and bytes, collected, aggregated, looped continuously, present an information overflow that the average person simply cannot handle. Now, I walk a fine line in being an information provider and at the same time not attempting to pollute the space. I stepped into this a long time ago. This was effectively my time to utilize media skills that I've honed for decades. I began doing media as a teenager, and I have continued to write, speak, and produce media, certainly on the internet since 2003, 2004. There is out there now a movement, well orchestrated, well planned, well financed, and well seated by the ruling elite Kabbalists who want to undermine the ability to communicate in a genuine sense. What I do on the internet are interviews and audios and articles related to exposing the dark side of this present world, but at the same time not falling into the trap of simply giving you all the dark information with nowhere to go with it. For that reason, I have attempted to balance my shows and to do shows that present optimism, healing, recovery from trauma, and a way to effectively move the conversation out of the dark zone of negative media and into an area where people have some options. I entered a battle with Project Camelot and Carrie Cassidy when I began to ask questions. And I asked these questions about many issues beginning back last year when I challenged Project Camelot on the defense of Richard Hoagland, when Gary Vier began airing questions about Hoagland's suppression of critical evidence related to the photos of the faces on Mars and also the secret space program. At that time, I posted information and I made every attempt to get that information out and to verify it and to check it. My efforts were met with great resistance at Project Camelot by Carrie Cassidy, who on a blog post then proceeded to post a screed against the information that had come out, support for Richard Hoagland, who has been one of the darlings of Project Camelot in both their videos and also their conferences. Carrie Cassidy, in that blog post, stated that she felt that Gary Vee was probably a person targeted for mind control. She also went on to wind up that article by restating one of Richard Hoagland's most famous lines: "The lie is different at every level." This is the part that we have to deal with. I'm not going to go into the chronology of the whole Project Camelot debacle, except to say that it has increasingly gotten nastier and uglier. I have attempted to pull back. I have retrenched. I have disallowed comments on the website. I have asked that it not be discussed. And it continues to come up because I guess some people out there have questions about this. Utilizing the term mind control is a two-edged sword. Mind control by itself is not a bad thing. You have the ability to control your own mind. You have the ability, through different modalities, through different techniques, to take ownership and to take control of your consciousness. The invocation of mind control as a looping meme within the internet is one of the tactics that are used to control the conversation about mind control, about government projects, and to make you less than in this conversation. Understand this: everybody on this planet is subjected to mind control on a continual basis by the electric environment, by the EMF waves that stream all around us, by the pulses of information that are constantly pumped into what Teilhard de Chardin called the noosphere, what we call the web, or the information spherical construct that has emanated from broadcast and media since the early 20th century, beginning with the telegraph and radio. Humanity communicates electronically, and it communicates in ways that are both subtle and at the same time very concrete. Addressing the issue of mind control related specifically to people who have been in government projects, people who have been taken, people who have been traumatically split and fractured, people who have been used by the government because of who they are, because of what they are transformed into being, was all part of a post-World War II plan. When Nazi scientists were migrated through Operation Paperclip into the U.S. It is not in the interest of the government to let you know that you have the ability to control your own mind. It is not in the interest of Project Camelot to let you know that they themselves use mind control on a regular basis. To let you know that by co-opting the terminology and by defining it and by flinging it at people, they have the ability to use a term that has a very generic meaning as a pejorative terminology for people that they consider to be rogue elements or outside their control. I have watched now as this creature called former white hat operative, emanating off of a WordPress.com blog, has continued to spew his vile garbage all over the web as a result of the fact that Carrie Cassidy promoted the website. We've done the timeline. We've done the homework. It's very clear that you can connect former white hat and all of the garbage that he has spilled out back to Carrie Cassidy and Project Camelot. Former white hat is not a white hat. He is not former anything. He has no information that is insider information. He has no insights that are critical to your understanding. He's simply a tool of a media empire attempting to preserve itself in the face of great criticism, valid criticism, and valid questions that were asked and not answered by Carrie Cassidy and Project Camelot. Project Camelot is a fictitious entity. It is Carrie Cassidy doing business as a fictitious entity for the purposes of disseminating media. Some of you donate to Project Camelot. I used to donate to Project Camelot. Some of you support Project Camelot through your energy, through your efforts, your talents, your time, and you don't realize that the conversation's changed. When Carrie Cassidy began using her rhetorical techniques to defend Richard Hoagland, she stepped into a trap. She stepped into the trap that's common with any group that forms around an entity. She stepped into the trap of preserving and maintaining her own empire, her own structure, her own group of people, at the expense of somebody who came forward with some very valid arguments. She's continued to use this tactic time and time again by slamming the mind control label on anyone with whom she disagrees, including myself, however veiled the reference might be. I have aligned myself with people who have come out of projects. I have aligned myself with people who also wish to enter the conversation with positive solutions for people who are subjects of mind control, subjects of traumatic abuse, satanic ritual abuse, and even the more subtle forms of electronic abuse that occur around the planet now under the blanket of psychotronic control. It is not my goal to continue engaging Project Camelot in an ongoing argument. Therefore, with this video blog, I issue the challenge to Project Camelot to do the right thing. Put up or shut up. Demonstrate that somebody has erred. Demonstrate that somebody has misrepresented or misappropriated anything that you've put out in the context of what I call media criticism. Demonstrate that you have goodwill and that you wish to work as a community. Or just admit this is an empire that you've built, and built with the help of some very powerful people, and that you wish to preserve your empire. And we can move forward. To former white hat operatives, so-called, operating at WordPress.com, you have stalked, intimidated, libeled, slandered, character assassinated, and behaved in a manner that I can only call bestial. I have had phone conversations recorded, sent to my voicemail, threatening. I have had threats of stalking at events, stalking on a personal level. So here's the deal. Real men don't fight word battles. You want it, bring it on. But I will tell you that you are a coward, you are a liar, you are going to be found out for who you really are, and much like the Wizard of Oz, when the curtain's pulled, you'll be some pathetic poor creature pretending to be something that you are not. If you have the goods, if you're an insider, then show us something that's actually inside information and use it constructively. Use it to heal. Use it to create a new approachment towards peace. And use it for something that doesn't continue aiding the cabal's efforts to split those who are working to bring out information and to bring restoration about. To the listeners, to the readers, to the viewers out there who consume internet media, you need to become discerning about what you take in. You need to understand that there's a battle for your mind out there, and that battle for your mind includes any level of disinformation, deceptions, and clever rhetoric that's leveled by people like Carrie Cassidy, who twist and devise ways to distort your thinking. Each one of you has the ability to think for yourself and discern for yourself. You do not need to agree with me. You do not need to support me. You do not need to like what I do, and you do not need to like the people that I work with. You have a choice. Go find someplace else where you can work, where you can prosper. This war is going to be played out on another level very soon. The media wars are simply a shadow of another war that's about to emerge on planet Earth. Whether Drake and his plan to take back the Americas is true or not, there's information that was released by Drake that coincides with information that I've been getting for a very long time now. Something is about to occur in America. Something is about to occur in the world. The battles are highly divisive and require a very, very deft level of discernment and understanding and parsing of information. And you're going to have to begin to look at yourself for the truth and stop looking to authority figures and media figures for your information. This is a battle for your mind. It's a battle for your soul. And you need to understand that you've been played many times by the media outlets. The mainstream media outlets are only different in their scope. The alternative media, those who have been inside what's called the truth movement, have been co-opted by their leaders as well. And it is time for you to cut the ties to those who are feeding you bullshit. Begin to support those who you believe give you the best level of truth. And at times, you're going to have to disengage from this media. You're going to have to pull the plug and walk away and decide for yourself which side of the battle you're on. I'm Randy Moggins. This is a video blog from offplanetradio.com. We'll be back again very soon.